afternoon, everyone. This is Nancy from NEHA Inc. here at Springdale Park. This is the site of the miniature handball court that was built back in the 1980s here in the city of Holyoke, the birthplace of volleyball. Back in July 2016, we fixed up this handball wall in the handball court floors. Over time, you know, the court floors wear down, the paint recedes, and I think most recently, you know, there were some people that were here and they vandalized the handball court.
Yeah, it looks like they made like a makeshift memorial. You know, we always try to respect when someone is in some type of mourning or something like that, and they do little memorials or whatever it is that they do for people. But the unfortunate thing is when people take locations like a handball court or a basketball and do some type of memorial on it, a lot of times they don't really take into consideration that they can permanently damage a surface. We went through that years ago into the flats when they put some candles on the court, and then no one could have played, no one played there anymore after that because it melted into the asphalt on the floor. And at that time I wasn't as savvy as I am now as far as repairing courts and stuff like that. That was back in the mid-90s and stuff like that. But here we did fix this. We're waiting hopefully in the future to have new courts built here, but that could be anywhere from 10 or 15 years. We don't know when that's going to happen. So as of now, this court was always kind of like an afterthought court. It was only as far as I remember, is 11 and a half feet tall or so. It's about 11 and a half feet by 16. So this is a very small court. Even for singles, it's small. We used to consider it the singles court, but it was always like too small. I remember originally, I think this had a red floor when it was brand new. It was built about 1984, along with Saucy Park. They built those two courts back then, and the flats was already up. The one at Lawrence School by the Lawrence School off Chestnut Street was already there. So we did have a couple. South Holyoke was already there, and the old three-wall court, that nobody used for three-wall. But it's tough. We did do a tournament here. We have fun. They run a festival here every year. I still think that it's still going, maybe under some changes, but that we did have a tournament here during that festival. We had a clinic or two, and then we showed up and played a few times. But it is a challenge because without fencing, but that's not just the challenge. The fact that the court is so small.
And look at the backside. Look at the backside.
Yeah, you know what I mean. These are challenges that we always say stunts the growth. I mean, when the sport was popular, people played wherever, and you had hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people playing in Holyoke. You know what I mean? I could probably imagine at that time there was 1,000 people playing.
And this is not okay to use it as storage.
Yeah, it's not storage. It's stupid to do that because it doesn't. It kind of like no sport amenity in a park should ever be used in this way. I think that there's a place for that. You know what I mean? And that's something that we got to talk to the parks about. I mean, we did have a move stuff from there before. And now, a lot of times it's usage and stuff like that, but in my opinion, when you have a Parks and Rec and stuff like that, no amenity in a park should ever be used for this type of storage and stuff like that. I know it's just the back of it. It's an eyesore, one, and two, it just doesn't belong there. You know what I mean? Other people can mess with it, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. But it is what it is. It's there. And hopefully those improvements, which were beautiful improvements with the master plan, would be great. But like I said, this has always been a challenge to use this court. We just came from the other court in South Holyoke, and that one, this is kind of South Holyoke too, but it's another section of Springdale. And that one there, I mean, has more promise. I mean, I advocated for that one, in the late 90s. But that one has some vandalism, but it's not just the wall, because I expect that it's not as bad as what it used to be. It's the whole neighborhood. I mean, there's a lot of trash underneath. It's that alleyway. They did tear down a building there, which was a good thing that they did because it was dangerous. Small, like garage type structure. And now they have a lot of trash underneath this trailer. And we're trying to adjust that because a lot of that stuff blows into and affects the park. The park was actually pretty clean. And I think that they just had some kind of event there. And like I said, we want to be able to run maybe 2 tournaments a year in Holyoke. But we would probably choose the high school for one tournament, and then South Holyoke for the other. But South Holyoke, we wanted the improvements because we don't want our players getting hurt while they play.
It's getting cold in here.
Yeah, and this happens to be one of those things. I mean, oddly, sometimes people were concerned about people playing and getting together and playing, but what's odd about this year for handball, besides what just happened with COVID, the weather's been, in some cases, pretty beautiful, and in other cases, it's been kind of like this, where it's almost July, and it's not cold, but it's pretty cool out. So once you get used to an 80-degree day, and then it goes down into the 50s or the 60s, it feels pretty cool, especially with this breeze.
All right, let's walk to the other way.
A lot of times people don't, they feel this chill. They don't want to rush to the park. They're like, I'm not going to play today. You know what I mean?
But we're going to play a short little game here, and then we're going to head to Robert's handball courts.
But that does affect it. That makes people kind of think twice about going and playing. So, but if you wear gloves, you should be